Did you make it to the meeting last night?
Yeah, yeah. So Commissioner Dare, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so I just, we're gonna sit side by side here. You can run the meeting. I just let you know, we're just in, so we don't have the camera with an empty seat between them is all I was thinking this morning.
Oh, no, that's a great idea. I know you'll see what's going on in the room. I don't see anything from the room on my screen. So if you want to go ahead and run the meeting, I know it's a really, it's a pretty light agenda.
Okay. As I
Anyway,
say, I remember when I did remote and there's an empty seat with the two, it just looks kind of spread out, so.
okay.
Okay. I guess we're ready to go. All set? Okay, so good morning. This is Commissioner DeBone, Vice Chair, but Commissioner Dare is remote. We just discussed, I'll run the meeting today. So it's 9 a.m. Wednesday, January 17th, 2024. Thank you for joining us for the Deschutes County Board of Commissioners meeting. First item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
With liberty and justice for all.
So at this time is citizen input for any items not on the agenda. So I see we have a request from Mr. Ron Bozell. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for joining me.
Hmm.
Oh, I'm feeling looking a little like unkempt this morning. I just walked 10 miles through the snow, literally. It's not a school one story. I was a little vague on my paperwork. My pen ran out and I'm running late. But I want to talk about Joe. Joe died a half a year ago in our county at the teeth of 3 dogs that were loose, and we read recently how that person has been, the owner has been punished. But I don't think that's the sum total of our solution. And I'd like to see action, some kind of action that convinces us that this is less likely to happen again. 3 dogs for an adult man apart to his death, just to remind if anybody hasn't thought about the details or read about the details. And it's inexcusable because of the circumstances that we helped create. And it is connected with homeless issues. It's not a quote homeless issue, but it's certainly all of our concern. And I have had a chance as a public figure to talk to a lot of people over years about this, not knowing that this was going to happen, but it did. And I knew Joe. I've eaten a number of meals with him downtown at the Red Door and had some very interesting conversations. And I do believe he probably was a little disturbed. He showed me a letter he wrote to the president, and it was in beautiful penmanship. And all of us, whether we're causing the situation or contributing to the situation, don't need to be part of a situation that costs us our life, even if it was as a result of some bad judgment. And I can't even guess if that's what was the case. And I'm not saying that. But please, we need to criminalize criminal dogs. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Is anybody remote with the raised hand? So no other public testimony at this time. Okay, so at this time, consent agenda.
Move approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Okay. In the notes in the board minutes from the third, just North Unit Irrigation District instead of North Irrigation District, just adding the word unit. And I'll provide that. So there's one proposed change. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Commissioner Chang,
Yes.
Commissioner Dare,
Yes.
and Vice Chair will vote yes. Action items, item number 4, Historic Landmarks Commission update, recruitments and reappointments. So quite a memo associated with this one. We've been down quite a path. Is Tanya going to be able to join us remotely?
Or Will Groves. It could be elevated.
Groves,
Okay.
okay. As to say, thanks for providing that memo. A lot of good history here, and been through a few steps, and we sure got the excitement going. So we had many applicants and a good review process, and now some proposed appointments.
Good morning, commissioners. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Thank you. Tanya Saltzman, who is going to run this item, is having some difficulties with her computer this morning. And so I'm here to help out. Of course, what we've got for you here, this is Will Groves, of course, your planning manager. And what I've got for you here today is a board item for a Historic Landmarks Commission update to talk about reappointments and recruitments. And what we're seeking today here is Board of County Commissioner approval for 3 new commissioners and 1 new ex officio commissioner. Of course, the HLC serves as the advisory body concerning historic and cultural resources for Deschutes County and the City of Sisters. It's important to note that Redmond and Bend have their own historic preservation review bodies. Until recently, we had 5 voting members and 1 ex officio member. And as we've discussed previously, we've had some resignations and one of our HLC members passed. In November, we had a public hearing concerning some legislative options. And the board ultimately directed staff to reopen the recruitment, and we received 10 applications, which brought us to a total of 12 applications. Staff assembled a selection committee composed of 2 current HLC members, the director of the Deschutes County Historical Society, and the community development director from the City of Sisters. Committee conducted 9 interviews in early January and selected 3 potential new commissioners plus an ex officio member. So the panel selected 3 proposed new HLC members. These met the basic criteria and were also highly skilled and had valuable experience that the panel believed would be valuable on revitalizing the HLC. This includes Laura Christopher, who has extensive experience with the City of Kaiser with its Heritage Museum and preservation there. Eli Ashley from the Tumalo area. And has familiarity with boards, governance, bylaws, and experience restoring historic theaters, most notably in Tacoma. And finally, Mark Hudson from the 3 Rivers area, who comes from a conservation and planning background. He's worked for the Agricultural Trust in Oregon, as well as significant experience with historic landmark commissions and similar bodies. It's important to note that the term durations of the new commissioners vary according to what position they'd be filling, as they were all vacated midterm, and those terms are outlined in the memo. In addition, we have a recommendation for an ex officio member. There was a candidate, Lillian Cyphers, who applied during the initial recruitment period, is actually currently employed by the county's clerk office and had a real interest in communication strategies and public outreach that caused the interview panel to recommend her as a HLC ex officio member. There already is 1 ex officio member, that's Chris Horting Jones, and a second member would round out the HLC to 7 commissioners total, which staff believes is manageable and logistically desirable. In addition to the recruitment of the new commissioners, all 3 current commissioners have terms that are due to expire on March 31st, 2024, and staff is seeking board approval for their appointment for an additional 4-year term. So at the last page of the memo, you can see that there's some staff recommendations, and that includes approving appointments, approving an ex officio appointment, and reappointing the current commissioners. And with that, I'm available for any questions.
I might be available if you all can hear me. Hi, this is Tanya
Yeah,
Saltzman.
Tanya, thank you
Senior.
for joining us. You are on video and audio now.
Yes, I'm so sorry. My computer has about a 2-minute delay, so I don't know what's going on. So thanks, Will, for covering for me.
On there now.
What he said. Thanks, Will.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
I would
So
like to
any
say very
comments?
briefly that with the interviews, and I don't know if any of the HLC candidates are watching, it was a stellar pool of people. We could have honestly picked pretty much almost everybody. It was a very difficult decision, and the selection committee wanted me to relay that information to the board. We were just so pleased and so yeah, just pleased, and the breadth and the depth of people's experience and enthusiasm. It was great.
Was there any discussion of additional ex officio members?
Well, it's a very good question. So technically the code says there's an unlimited amount, but there are some physical limitations. If we want people to be kind of sitting up where you're sitting right now, there's really only room for kind of 7-ish, maybe plus or minus 1 without it getting weird with the camera, and then it would be strange to have people sitting somewhere else. So it becomes a physical limitation as well. So we thought that 2 ex officios would be appropriate and not kind of messing with the logistics of the holding a meeting.
Well, I want to thank everybody for getting engaged. Remember, it was kind of crickets last year, and then we had this discussion about what are we going to do, and then all of a sudden we really do have engagement by the community, broad engagement, geographic representation, and also now with the new board members being proposed, a good diversity of backgrounds too. So I can imagine the group kind of sitting down, figuring out, okay, what direction do we want to go? What projects might be out there? It's always good to be able to, respect the history of the area, even if it's just the educational opportunities also.
Yeah, I guess I would say it's important for us all to remember that it's a resource commitment from the county to have a historic landmarks commission. And last year it was looking like there was a lot of resource commitment and there wasn't necessarily enough community energy to match that. Now it appears that we really do have a lot of community energy, and I'm really glad to see that, and I'm really glad that we can maintain this important function and honor that excitement and enthusiasm in our community for historic preservation.
Commissioner Dare.
Yes, I'm personally delighted as someone who had their original degree in history from the University of Oregon to see how many people actually care about our history. And I have a feeling that this is a dynamic group, and I'm so thankful that so many people stepped up. Glad to see that we have 5 voting members, according to your presentation, as far as our packet goes. And should we have separate motions? Because it looks like we have maybe 3 different agendas here, or 3 different appointment issues.
Yeah, there's 3 bundles. I'll also just note that one of with the reappointments of the current commissioners, one of those, Chris Hording Jones, is still pending. She's been out of town, so we're assuming that she will want to be reappointed, but we might put that temporarily on hold. But if the board chooses to vote for approving that reappointment just while waiting for her confirmation, just a little nuance to that, just to make it extra complicated.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, and the last page does have the names and the proposed appointment terms. So with that, I'll do the first one, and we can kind of break it into 3. So I'll move new appointments for Laura Christopher, term beginning immediately until March 31st, 2026. Eli Ashley, term beginning immediately to March 31st, 2026. And also Mark Hudson, term beginning immediately until March 31st, 2024.
28.
Okay, yep. So Mark Hudson, beginning immediately until 24, filling existing the remaining term, and then reappointment to March 31st, 2028. Yeah, I didn't finish that.
Second.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. Commissioner Dare,
Yes.
Commissioner Chang,
Yes.
and Vice Chair will vote yes.
I will move an ex officio appointment, Lillian Cyphers, to a new 4-year term ending January 17th, 2028.
And I'll second it. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Commissioner Chang,
Yes.
Commissioner Dare,
Yes.
and Vice Chair will vote yes. Thank you.
Okay, and I can make the last motion. The reappointments of our current commissioners, Rachel Stemich, reappointment until March 31st, 2028. Dennis Schmilding, a reappointment until March 31st, 2028. And then the one that you said, I think, can we do it? And then if it is a problem, we'll just
I-
have to.
That's my understanding. I think so. And
Okay.
if she decides not to do it, then we can pull it.
Okay, so Chris Hording Jones, who is ex officio, reappointment until March 31st, 2028. That's my motion.
Okay,
Second.
and it's been seconded. Any other discussion? Seeing none, Commissioner Dare,
Yes.
Commissioner Chang,
Yes.
and Vice Chair will vote yes. So thank you very much. Re-engagement, and we'll see where it all goes from here.
Thank you. And just one quick note that we have scheduled a joint Board of County Commissioners HLC meeting on, I believe it's Monday, March 4th. Hopefully that's on your calendars. So that'll be an opportunity to meet with the new commissioners and kind of discuss expectations and just get everyone at the table together. So we're really looking forward to having that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thanks for bearing with my technical difficulties.
Worked out good. At this time, item number 5, first reading of ordinance, changing the comprehensive plan map designation and zone designation for 40 acres located at 64430 Hunnell Road.
I'll be recusing myself from deliberation and votes on this issue based on my interest in park development on the adjacent county property.
Okay, so yep, Jacob Ripper is joining us.
Good morning, commissioners. Yes, my name is Jacob Ripper, principal planner at CDD. This agenda item is for consideration of a first reading of ordinance 2024-001, changing the comprehensive plan designation and zone map for a property that's 40 acres in size and located at 64430 Hunnell Road. On December 20th, 2023, a public hearing was held before the Board of County Commissioners, and at that hearing, the board heard testimony from the applicant's representative. After taking testimony, the board closed the record and moved on to deliberations. At the conclusion of deliberations, the board determined that approval of the proposal was appropriate. A draft copy of the ordinance has been included in the board's packet for today, which includes exhibits such as maps and the hearings officer's recommendation for approval. In deliberations, it was understood that the board's intention was to adopt the hearings officer's findings as the board's decision without edits. But with that, I'm prepared to answer any questions the board may have. Otherwise, the staff recommendation at this point is either further discussion if edits are requested to any of the materials in the packet, or to move on to the recommended motion, which is included in the agenda request and staff report. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is the proposed first reading, accepting the hearings officer recommendation, and I do support that.
And I do also. Therefore, I will make the motion is moving approval of first reading by title only of ordinance number 2024-001.
And I will second it. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. Commissioner Adair
Yes.
and Vice Chair will vote yes. So go ahead and read that as the chair.
Oh, thank you. Okay,
Sure.
why not? An ordinance amending Deschutes County Code Title 23, the Deschutes County Comprehensive Plan, to change the comprehensive plan map designation for certain property from agriculture to rural residential exception area, and amending Deschutes County Code Title 18, the Deschutes County zoning map, to change the zone designation for certain property from exclusive farm use to multiple use agriculture. And this is ordinance number 2024-001.
Then second reading will be 2 weeks.
I will see you in 2 weeks.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
At this time, other items, and we'll welcome Commissioner Chang back. Yeah, please proceed.
Thank you. We have a request from Judge Ashby regarding the use of the courthouse for the 2024 mock trial competition on Saturday, February 24th, 2024. The board has approved this in the past. It's a county facility, so they're making the request to the board. So I'm just checking in with commissioners to see if you're.
Yeah, so it's kind of courtesy request to use the facility on a Saturday. So maybe a little bit overhead for the facility itself, but yeah, I'm very supportive of this. A mock trial, getting the students in there to understand the rooms themselves and the experience of the courtroom.
Full disclosure, my son decided
Oh,
to
great.
pick up mock trial this year, so he will probably be one of the kids in the space if this happens. So
Yeah, wonderful.
no offense to attorneys present, but I hope he doesn't choose that career.
Oh. Commissioner Dare, any thoughts?
Well, it happens to be my husband's birthday, so I'm sure I will be doing something really special that day.
So there's support by the board to allow
Yes.
that. Thank you very much.
Yes.
That sounds great. And Commissioner Adair, that's a day that we share. My wife's birthday is the same day.
Oh, there you go.
So great. So they will be contacting county facilities and Sheriff Nelson to assist with the event. So commissioners, thank you very much for that. The only other item that I have is just wishing everybody safe travels today. I shared with department heads first thing this morning before I came in coordination with Chris Doty, is just to support employees that are choosing to work remotely today to do so, and certainly skeleton crews, just so that we do have county facilities open, but we may not be fully staffed, particularly this morning, given the road conditions in town. So just to let everybody know to try to be patient if there's any delayed service. We certainly hope not, but there may be. Thank you.
So an item for myself, I was able to have our community meeting about the elk hunting in Forest Service land, close to homes at the edge of Sun River, on the west side of Sun River proper. And then also there was community members involved for duck hunting at the edge of the river, across the river from private property. So the duck hunting situation is a known situation. It's been there for a long time. And it's been, managed and mitigated over the years. The elk hunting event is a well-defined peninsula that, looks like it could or should just be maybe a recreational area, and it's authorized for hunting. So as I say, the news coverage this morning was Commissioner DeBone stuck in the middle, which is basically where I'm at on this. So the one item that I did come back with is a little bit, maybe another memo, and just kind of putting the history together. So state law back in the 90s defined the state as having the authority for no shooting zones. Deschutes County had in our county code previous to that no shooting opportunities, a petition to the Board of Commissioners. So we have no shooting zones in private property neighborhoods, but then there's also a little bit of history with 150-yard setback from the river area, is my understanding. So as I say, could we create another kind of memo for residents explaining that? Because the action item is take that and build on it. If this is a truly impactful situation, define it well, and then look for the opportunities to move forward. So that's kind of what we came with last night. I was able to drive real slow from here to the meeting. I got there about 5:02. It was just slow and the whole time getting there. But thank you, Stephen, very much for your tech support last night. Also, there was a Zoom feed that worked. I kind of checked it multiple times, thinking if there's somebody who wanted to testify remotely. We didn't get there, so I do apologize if somebody tried to speak from the Zoom call last night. But it was a very engaged crowd and it worked out pretty well. Anything else? Other items?
I'll just say I observed the meeting. I'm
Great.
really glad that this community conversation is taking place. And one of the other things that I heard an interest in was exploring establishment under federal procedures of no shooting, no hunting areas under the Dingle Act.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know whether your intention is to support community residents as an advocate in exploring that or not. But that certainly sounded like something that many of the people present at the meeting were interested in.
Yeah, so Forest Service took that action item to, share the paperwork on that. So the steps involved, my conclusion at that point is, as I say, define and ask real well, and then start working with federal delegation to, see who's an advocate at that level too.
It sounded like it might be more, quite a procedurally significant thing. So I'm not sure what your interest is in the county supporting that process or not. But certainly people said that to move that forward would, I believe they said there's something like 29 steps, and a broad base of community support would be necessary to move something like that. So
well, that would be in front of all three of us as a governing body at some point, as I say. And so then my thought is say, get some real up to speed advocates that understand the intricacies of the steps. And then we have a tool to be able to say, yes, let's proceed with that. So, because it was a little bit vague about, and it's that hot potato issue. I had a resident and she was sitting right in front and she's like, you do this. I'm like, well, we do this is kind of my thought. So we'll see where it goes. Okay, any other?
Oh, I just wanted to mention that, the weather, I drove Monday night. We had the Fair Association dinner, 150 people braved the weather, the 0 degrees to be there. It was an incredible opportunity with their leadership. Jeff Hines, our director, gave an outstanding report, but it's one thing to drive when it's 0, but when you're driving when it's ice, that sounded like yesterday afternoon was really not quite pleasant in Bend because of the freezing rain. So, and I did work on the duck hunting down there a couple years ago, and it does seem like it seemed like at that time it was 129 steps in order to accomplish something. So, I can understand why the neighbors are apprehensive. It's just like the people that live on the backside of some of the shooting buttes in the China Hat region. And if, their house can be hit by bullets and they're over a mile away. So it's definitely, it can be challenging. So I think we could bring it up, the three of us, at some point in time.
Yeah, that was one thought that occurred to me while I was listening was, if we have concerns about firearm discharge in the China Hat Road area, conceivably, if it makes the most sense to pursue these no shooting zone designations for multiple pieces, to make it worth the effort, that maybe there's some, maybe there is some play for China Hat Road in all of this. I'd like to think that homelessness isn't going to be the problem out there that it is right now forever, and in which case people may want to be able to hunt out there again in the future. But for the near term, having a ban on shooting in a defined area out there could be helpful as well. So that's just something to consider.
Well, and making sure there's advocates on both sides that are bought into that. In fact, that's what the Forest Service mentioned is, this can't be one side referring to two sides of an issue, but this can't be one group telling the other group what we're going to do. It needs to be, community consensus. So there's opportunities for discussion there. Okay, so any other items? As I said, sorry I missed the Fair Association dinner. I don't think I've done that many times over the years. I don't know if that might have been the first, but at 4 o'clock we made the call. We're like, no, let's not go bumping slowly up and down the highway for all evening, because we would have been an hour at least each way, and it would have been dangerous both ways. So that was that.
A couple of other things I'll mention that have happened since last week's board meeting, where we had an EDCO board meeting that was really focused on power supply reliability and affordability in the region. lengthy presentations by Pacific Power, telling us how they were going to really extend and expand transmission infrastructure across basically the whole Pacific Northwest to bring a whole bunch of generation from Idaho and Utah online to serve our area. There was a significant concern about, what about generation projects in Oregon? And when I asked Pacific Power, they're doing a very small renewables. They're doing a very small renewable solicitation. When I asked them if they had a sense of what kind of power purchase prices they might be paying to people to enable such development, they weren't ready to say very much at the time. So that was a little bit of a concern for me. There was also just this morning we had a Redmond Economic Development Incorporated board meeting, and there was significant discussion about a number of issues that are familiar to us. The groundwater allocation rulemaking process and how that'll affect City of Redmond's water supplies, and also discussion of how to encourage create public investment for affordable housing development. Rooted Homes presented this morning, and last month there was a presentation about the City of Redmond exploring a construction excise tax, similar to what the City of Bend has, that supports their affordable housing fund on an annual basis right now.
Great. So then other meetings I attended yesterday was a 911 user board quarterly meeting. The update for recruitment for staffing the 911 floor was very positive. They have a pool of people that are showing up. They have qualified applicants that are making it through the process, and they have willing people that are accepting positions. So remember, a year ago it was just not like that. So now we've got staffing level stabilized, and it looks more bright. And it all boils down to required overtime because it is a 24-hour facility. So, the recruiting update was really positive yesterday at our 911 facility. Sure.
Just the last item is just for everybody to be aware that the board meeting next Wednesday on the 24th will be begin at 1 p.m. rather than at 10 a.m. Due to the Central Oregon Community College's first State of the College, I think is what it's called, event in the morning, so that folks can attend and watch that presentation. So just a notice.
And to note on that, I'll be attending a congressional tour with Lori Chavez DeReamer for Core 3, Oasis Village, and the wetlands water processing plant for Redmond. So that'll be at that same time. So I won't be at COCC, but I will be off doing something else. So great. Anything else?
I did attend the fire. I attended
please.
the Fire Free meeting yesterday morning. The grant funding, Kevin did a great analysis of what's happening there. And the comment was made, and I passed it on to Nick already, that the mapping the state is doing the issues may never be resolved. And perhaps Deschutes County needs to carry on with more fire information. Next month, they're actually having an insurance person do the presentation from Country Finance. I think it's County Financial. And I don't know if you saw the news today, but somebody who had their house had a couple trees go on it in Lapine actually had already had their insurance canceled a couple of months ago. So the problems are out there. They said a 30% increase to insurance premiums is pretty standard. So that meeting might be something that more people want to view online. I think the gentleman will have a lot of really good information on how to stay insured when you're in a fire zone.
So that's Project Wildfire, and it's a available public meeting with Zoom available.
Yes.
And can you repeat the information on when this insurance industry presentation is going to happen?
It should be, I believe it's the 13th of next month. No, actually, it will be the third one. It will be the 20th, February 20th of next month at 8 a.m.
So this is during the regular Project Wildfire.
Right. Yes, that is the presentation for the meeting. I actually had the privilege of sitting by someone at the Farm Bureau dinner in December that was from that same organization. And they definitely are taking a different stand from Country Financial as far as ensuring our community. So I think it's really worthwhile. Oh, yeah, a lot of people in the room were definitely having issues with their insurance.
Okay, anything else? Seeing none, meeting adjourned.